starring Miss Welsh from Templeton Elementary School. While we have been away from each other, I have been thinking about some of the things that bring me joy. One of the things that always brings me joy is the bright sunny day. I love a nice day that is not too hot or not too cold and that has the sun in the sky. What kinds of things give you joy? Could it be a family member, a pet, a favorite toy? What could it be? Our theme today is joy. The other day, I was watching a show called Sunday Morning on CBS. At each commercial break, they had a different sun that is artfully done. I love to see the different ways people visualize the sun. Here are some items that have artfully be done. They're all a representation of the sun. The two on the top are more sun-like than the one at the bottom. What do the two on the top have in common that the one on the bottom does not have? The two on the bottom have colors. What kinds of colors do they have? The one on top does not have color. But what's interesting about these is the shapes. There are different shapes that individuals are using to represent the sun. What kinds of colors do we see here? I know I can see reds and yellows and oranges. Those belong to the color family called warm colors. And here are some more examples of the sun. These use lots of organic shapes that curve and bend. I really like how these are done. Take a minute to look around the room for anything that is round in the room you are in, or one of the warm colors I just told you about. I bet you can find at least one of each. You can make many things from the same shapes. Look around the room. What shapes do you see? Watch me as I use some common shapes to make many different things.
Okay, so we have looked around the room and we looked at all the different shapes that we can find. I want us to think about our shapes. Some shapes can be used for several different things. Use your imagination. I want you to think about what shapes can be used for different things. So here I'm going to draw two circles as best I can. Notice I say as best I can. I am not tracing anything. Okay. What could you do with these circles? Do you see eyes? Do you see fruit? Do you see pots and pans? Do you see cherries? Do you see anything that comes into your mind? So, this set, I can very easily add some more lines and make it look like two cherries. We can add some highlights like that. And maybe a leaf or two. So I was able to turn our circles into cherries. Let's look at these. Same circles. We can add straight lines. These can be those wonderful cake pops that you get from Starbucks. Or we can turn them into frying pans by adding some more details. Here's your eggs. They're cooking in the frying pan. And here's some turkey bacon frying up in the frying pan. Or you could have easily added pancakes. Making two more circles over here. some more lines. Now I have two eyes that are looking at my cherries and my pants. So do you see how different shapes can create different things?
Next, gather your materials. It is super important to talk to an adult and ask before you use any materials. I think I'm going to use construction paper, old magazines, glue, and scissors. If you do not have scissors, you can always rip the paper, go slowly and make little tears, or you can ask an adult for help. If you don't have colored paper, you can make it using paint or coloring with colored pencils, markers, or crayons. You can also use food, clothes, yarn, whatever you have to create. If you're going to use food, make sure you eat it right away. We don't want to waste food. Take a few minutes and gather what materials you have together. I'm going to plan my sun. Where do I want it to be on the main paper? I'm using, do I want it in a corner? Do I want it in the center? Do I want to make it look like a sunrise or sunset? What kind of sky do I want? Do I want clouds?
Now, after we thought about our shapes, let's think about where we would like something to go. Do I want it to be in the center as the star of the show? Do I want it big or small? Important or not important? I think the sun's pretty important to me, and I love it when it's just high overhead on a cloudless day. I'm going to draw a circle as best I can, or you could have traced your circle. You could have used anything that is round, like a plate, or anything like a lid that's circular. I'm going to add some of these fun organic shapes on the outside. It's almost looking like a sunflower now. Maybe that's why a sunflower is called a sunflower. So if I wanted my sun to be the biggest thing and in the center, this is what it would look like. Perhaps I wanted to do a sunrise or sunset. I would draw a half circle towards the bottom of my paper because this would be the horizon or the ground line. And then I can add those organic shapes to the outside. You could have easily done this with crayon or colored pencils. I had a marker, so that is what I'm using. Or I could have it peeking out from a corner. Maybe I can add a horizontal line to represent my horizon and add some other things, like maybe a pretty tulip. Or a cloud. So much you could fill this space with. But see how this is smaller than my other suns. So the sun doesn't seem the main focus. That is why we're worried about keeping our sun nice and big, or whatever you've chosen that brings you joy. See how it's nice and big in this one as well.
Next, I need to think about what shapes do I want to use. Do I want a circle or half circle for the sun? What could I use to make a circle or a half circle? One of the things I also need to think about is size. When I do things super tiny, you can complete it fast. However, any mistakes can easily be seen, and you can't get a lot of detail in it. When you do things large, mistakes hide easier and are easier to fix. The mistakes are harder to find. I like working big because of this. I am thinking about proportions here as well as emphasis. Emphasis means what is going to be the main work about and making it the star of the work. Whatever you decide to draw, whether it's a pet, favorite food, or a relative that you enjoy spending time with, you need to think about some other things. Is it indoors? How do we separate the floor from the wall? That's right, a horizontal line. Is it outdoors? How do we separate the ground from the sky? Again, that answer is a horizontal line. Horizontal lines go from right to left. We also need to think about what time of day it is and other things. When we plan something, we are actually thinking about our composition. There are so many different kinds of materials you can use for this project. Remember, use what you have. You do not have to go out and buy things. I'm using old magazine, scissors, glue, construction paper. But you could easily use yarn, thread, buttons, sequins, construction paper, leaves, twigs, and so much more. Before I cut anything, I'm going to plan what I'm going to cut.
I'm going to talk about scissors now. It is very important that when we hold scissors and we are walking, we hold them shut, like this. This way, if we fall while we're walking around the room, we will not hurt anybody, including ourselves. If we hold them like this is pointy, and it could hurt somebody. It's very, very sharp. These are grown-up scissors. These are a pair of adults or child scissors I got from the Dollar Tree. Okay, it has plastic here. You put your thumb through the little hole and your fingers through the big hole. See, I'm right-handed. So if this was be left-handed, your thumb would still go through the little hole and your fingers through the bottom hole, the big hole. Again, even though these are safety scissors, we're not going to walk around like this. We're going to walk around like this. Whenever we have to cut something out, it's always good to have something to guide you. When we cut something out, we might want to draw what we want to cut out first. And when we do that, we want to be able to draw it closest to the edges of the paper. If I were to put it in center of the paper, I won't have as much paper to use at another time. But see, I have all this paper I can use some other time. I'm going to show you 2 ways to cut out scissors with scissors. There are chomps, and then there's nibble, 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 nibble. When you cut with a chomp, see how it goes off? It's not as nice. If we do little nibbles and are turning the paper with our other hand, you'll have a nice, smooth, clean cut. I'm staying as close to the edge as possible of that line I drew. Nibble, 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 not chomps. Nibble, 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 not chomps. Now I have my circle. Even if I was using the smaller scissors, I would still do nibble, 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 and not chomp, chomp, chomp. Okay. I'm going to show you the little scissors now. Again, I'm going to use that technique where I draw something close to the edge of the paper. I now have 2 new shapes. Nibble, nibble, nibble. Some scissors, if you are not holding them correctly, will not cut the paper correctly. For example, some scissors are made for left-handed people. If I were to use scissors for left-handed people with my right hand, sometimes they don't work because one edge is sharper than the other. Okay? Now, what if you don't have scissors? What are you going to do? Well, you would start with the same idea of drawing your shape first. Okay? You are going to do little tears. If you're tearing, your edges are going to be rougher than if you were using scissors. If you need help using scissors, make sure you ask an adult for help if you want to use the scissors. So just like with the scissors, I'm doing little tears. If I were to do big tears, it won't come out as nice and it won't be as close to the shape as I possibly can get. So that's how I tore out this. I still have some of the drawing on there, so if I were to use this, I'm going to flip it over and use this side, but it's still pretty cool. Okay, now I've gone through and I've already cut out lots and lots of pieces from magazines that I asked my parents if I could use. You can ask an adult if you can use their magazines, and I'm going to use that. Okay, this I cut out with scissors.
Let's take a minute and review. Remember to outline or trace the shapes you want. Remember, nibble, 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 not chomp, chomp, chomp. This is what nibbles look like. This is what a chomp looks like. See the difference? When I'm finished with the scissors, I always close them. If I need to walk around the room with them, I close them and hold the bottom closed with a hand. This way, if you fall, you will not hurt yourself. When we rip paper, we rip slow and rip small. Big rips will make it go all over the place and not keep the shape we want. When we use glue, we want to make sure it is open. If you hold it up to your ear, you should hear a whisper and feel it breathing on you. If you don't, get an adult to help you unclog it or open it. Never use scissors to unclog glue. You can hurt yourself or ruin the glue bottle. When we put glue down, we do ... and not a lot. Here, I've already taken the background and glued it down on a blue sheet of paper. I wanted to be my base. I let it dry a full day before putting anything else on.
Alright, I'm using a blue piece of paper to make filling the sky in better. I chose the sky first because it has more edges. Okay, and I used a combination of cuts and rips. And I kind of like how it's using. I want to now talk about how to use glue. Okay, I'm using regular white glue that dries clear. Okay, it's washable, it's safe, non-toxic, has a strong hold. You can get this at the Dollar Tree, Walmart, or Target. Okay, if you ever get glue and you open it up and you can't get anything out, please take it to an adult so they can unclog it for you. Do not try to unclog it with scissors. You might end up hurting yourself. We're going to talk about how to put glue on our paper. When we put glue on our paper, we're going to hold it upside down, and we're not even squeezing right now. I am not. We're going to go ... and not a lot. We don't want glue squishing out from underneath anything. And I want to be attached really good, so I'm just doing a whole bunch of little dots. I'm not even squeezing. Okay? Put too much glue on something, it squirts out from the sides, or it'll take forever to dry. So here's my sun. Okay, that circle, remember I cut out? Alrighty. I'm going to start putting in some of those edges I made. So I'm still doing that dot, 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 and not a lot method. And I'm going to use first one of these pieces that I had cut out. You can use either side. I'm going to put that right there. It overlaps some of the blue, some. That is fine. I'm okay with that. I wanted to do that because I'm making what's called a collage. So different things. Okay, this is yellow I cut out from a magazine. Dot, 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 and not a lot. You can say it to yourself as you're putting things on. Dot, 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 and not a lot. Now this has several things on there I want to use, and I want to show you the tearing technique. I'm using old magazines. Make sure you ask your parents if you can use those. Okay, I'm doing little tears. And I can overlap it right there. And take the extra pieces and add them in. Dot, 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 and not a lot. Okay, and I'm going to continue to add my yellow pieces and my magazine pieces till I have everything on there the way I wanted it. I really like how these blues are giving different effects with the background. Okay, see how I have like a little bit of glue? Didn't exactly have it in the right place. That's a very easy fix. I'm just going to take another magazine cutout or colored paper cutout and put it down.
Too much? If it squirts out of the sides, it is too much glue. Take a popsicle stick and scoop up what squirts out from the sides of the paper, or you can use a paper towel. Too little? The sides of the paper do not lay flat. Take extra glue with a popsicle stick or a toothpick and put it underneath the paper and press down.
Okay, so I've gotten most of my pieces on there, but I want you to look very, very carefully. I have some pieces that are sticking up, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue underneath and gently pat it down. You can also put glue on the end of a toothpick or a popsicle stick and glue everything down. And I'm using the glue that dries clear, so if I have any squishes, which I do, it'll be very easy to clean up. To clean up any of your extra squished items, just take a paper towel, okay, and dab. Now I do need to let this dry. If I need to make any more adjustments, I'm going to do it after everything else is dried. Because sometimes things don't stay stuck. And sometimes we need to give one level of glue a chance to dry.
Once you have all your pieces glued down, take a picture and send it to friends and family, your teachers, or after it is dry, put it in the window facing out. I'm sure the walkers by will love to see your sun, especially when it's on a cloudy day, or if it's not your sun, whatever you created. Sad to say, friends, grades 1 and 2 art lessons for today are over with. This has been Miss Welsh from Templeton Elementary School, encouraging you to be creative and share your work. For more ideas, please visit my YouTube channel, Ms. Welsh at TES, for more videos. Make sure to subscribe so you can see all the new videos I have been uploading. Have a wonderful day.